So now that we have the project set up, I want to go ahead and cover the asset manager and give an explanation as to why, when we hit play, you can see the meshes aren't loading, including there's no bolt actions down here either. It's only the firearm meshes that are just not appearing. And that's going to explain all these errors that we get as well, because it's a bunch of assertions. So the reason for that is basically there's nothing being loaded into memory for the M4. So that's what I'm going to focus on just for the example. So basically, you can see it's literally all the attachments and everything except for the M4 mesh. Now the reason for that is if I take a look, I'll go ahead and I'll select the optic. I need to get rid of some of these so I can actually click. You can see that it's just a normal blueprint. That's all it is. So it has the mesh and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try not to get too in depth because it's a whole other section of knowledge that I would recommend you learn because it's very powerful. But that's why the attachments are loading, because they're just normal blueprints, meaning their blueprints have hard references to the asset. And by the asset, I'm referring to the mesh, such as the optic, the barrel, the suppressor, that kind of stuff. So it's already going to be forced essentially to be loaded into memory. But the way the firearm is being constructed, it is not. So I hit play, there's no firearm mesh, but if I go and I load the firearm, so I'll go to the M4 and I'll load SK underscore M4, this firearm has now been loaded into memory. So if I hit play now, you can see we now have the M4 meshes, just like that. So that's basically the asset manager's job. It is to be able to load and unload assets from memory. So oftentimes you don't want to have, everything loaded into your game's memory, into your memory at once for your game. So let me just try to think of a hypothetical example. Actually, Epic had an example where they were talking about the boss. So, you have a giant boss for your game. It has a lot of unique shaders, meshes, textures, all that kind of stuff for the boss. If you're not going to be playing on a level or a portion of the level or anything ready for the boss like that, you have no reason to have that boss loaded into memory at all. Same thing goes if you have a bunch of characters. So say you have a game like, Valorant or Overwatch. You have a bunch of different characters, all with unique textures and assets, that kind of stuff. But if nobody is playing as those characters, you don't need to have those characters loaded into memory. That's just wasting resources. So what you can do instead is only load the characters that are actually going to be used into memory. And if somebody let's say they pick we'll call the character Dave. Classy. So we have the character Dave. Somebody plays as Dave, and then they switch their character to say Steve. When they do that, we want to unload all the assets that Dave uses from memory and load the new meshes that Steve is using. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's what the asset manager is responsible for. And currently that's just not set up. So in the previous video, I had mentioned this is using an optional module inside of the SKG shooter framework. And that module is specifically, if I go over here to the source, it is the SKG shooter framework actors module. So that's the optional one. And basically the intention of that module was to be able to, for Blueprint users anyways, to have a very simple way to asynchronously construct SKG firearms and stuff like that, all their meshes, and kind of handle it for you. The problem is it's very project specific on how you actually would use this kind of stuff. So for example, anytime anyone mentions that they're using an inventory system, they're trying to use it with SKG with it, I immediately recommend that they do not use this module at all, because it's going to end up conflicting and causing a lot more pain points than solutions, pretty much. And that also actually goes for the attachment system, but that's a whole separate video, but I can give an example on that later on. But that's just kind of the general overview. It's meant to solve some problems that you may have and make it easy to do these kind of optimizations that I'm talking about and do a lot of this stuff asynchronously. But it comes with some other drawbacks in that sort of loading and asynchronous handling is really specific to your project and how you actually need to do it. So In all the future videos, when we're actually building these things up in this tutorial series, we're not going to use that module at all. So I just want to go ahead and preface with that. But anyhow, let's go ahead and give an example on how you can solve that. So for example, we're going to select this top one here, which is the M4. And if we scroll down, we actually have the DA construction variable. And this is one of those assets that I'm talking about. So this is a data asset. And that's what the asset manager looks for. So in this data asset, we have a soft pointer to that M4 mesh that I was talking about. So, the one that I double clicked on to open, it loaded it into memory, and then everything just started to work. Well, this is because it's a soft pointer. So soft pointers, they don't actually point to anything specifically that is in your memory. They point to an asset. They're basically just a holder to a path. So in this case, it would hold the path, game, SKG, SF example content, assets, firearms, M4, SK underscore M4. That's essentially kind of what that soft pointer is going to be holding. The asset manager is able to take that soft pointer and load this asset into memory for you. Once it's done loading, that's when I just tie into some of the callbacks that it has and construct the M4 visually out of it. So we want to tell the asset manager, hey, this is the type of asset I'm looking for. Here's the paths to those assets, and that's it. So it just needs to know about it. So we can go to project settings, asset manager, and we have primary asset types to scan. So this is the type I'm talking about. So that would be PDA underscore firearm. Now, one thing to note, this is a blueprint one. It is derived from my C++ one just to add other information like, what sounds to play, what animations to play, that kind of stuff. It's irrelevant to this, but we would want to add that in here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that with one, but then I'm also going to go ahead and make it simple because you don't have to actually do this. If you don't want to, you can just copy it from the example project, which you should already have. So just for showing you how sake, again, I would recommend you look this topic up separately. In my opinion, it is valuable to know and kind of get a rough idea on, but we're going to add another entry and we're going to be looking for this type here. So PDA underscore firearm. So search for PDA underscore firearm, and then it needs a type. So this is just the name, PDA underscore firearm. Now, one thing to note, and this is a little bit of an oddity, when you have blueprint assets like this, because again, remember, this is a blueprint version of it. It is a child of the C++ one. You have to end it with underscore C. I don't know why. I can't remember why, but you do. And then under directories, we're going to add a new directory. And here, that's going to be basically the path to, okay, where do these data assets live? So if I select this guy here and go to it, I can see the path is this. So I can just throw that right in there. However, I also have the bolt action. So I'm going to go back one directory, and you can see we have the bolt action folder, which also contains it. So I'm going to just copy this path, and anything inside of this path that is of this type, it's going to find, and it's just going to handle. So I'm going to save that, save all, and notice that I didn't actually load up the bolt action mesh or anything like that, so it's not loaded into memory. But when I hit play now, you can see the bolt action has been loaded. And that's because the asset manager was able to find it, load it, and just handle it. So that's kind of a general sense of how you use it. And what I'm going to do really quick is I'm just going to go ahead and take it from the example project. So to begin, we can just go, it's kind of two ways to do this. You can go to the config, and your default project settings are going to be set in your default engine.ini. So this file right here. And we can just search for PDA underscore firearm. I don't think I spelled that right. I think it's in here. Will be... Oh, maybe not. Let me actually triple check, because I really thought that's the path. Okay, so my bad. It's in default game.ini. So that's my fault. So here, let me go ahead and... All right, I guess that's just going to be really long. But you can see we have PDA firearm, SKG PDA firearm, actor, optic, lot, yada, yada, yada. and it's all under these primary asset types to scan. So what we can do is we can just copy, go all the way up to PDA_firearm. So copy, then go to our project that we're on now, open up that default game.ini, and here we can see that one for the PDA_firearm. We're just going to highlight that because we're going to replace it, and paste. So that's going to add all of those entries. I'm going to go ahead and close down the editor as well, then save and reload it. Okay, so once we're back in the editor, don't even need to have that open. Go to our project settings. There we go. Asset manager. You can see we have all of these now. So those are all set up and ready to go. So that's the quick way to go ahead and do it. One thing I'm going to do, because I don't want it to keep opening up to this level, I just want to go ahead and make it default to the example project. For now, I'm going to change that to the third person map. Oh, and I did that for the game default map, didn't I? Yes. And change it to editor startup. So I want those to go to the third person map. I'm just going to go ahead and open that. And you'll see now on the first load, when I have nothing in the memory, when I hit play, you can see everything got constructed. So you can pick up the firearm. We have some collision issues, as you can see, which is why it's moving me around. And that's actually perfect because that's a common problem that people have, and that'll give me an opportunity to go ahead and answer it. But you can see, we have the laser, we have flashlight, all that kind of stuff. We have the procedurals, the leaning, yada, yada, yada. Everything is good to go. So a very brief rundown. The asset manager is able to take data assets and soft pointers inside of those data assets, which in this case I have in the form of asset bundles. You're going to want to Google that. But those bundles are basically packages of soft pointers, so to speak, that I just mentioned, such as the M4 mesh. And it is able to take those, and on an as-needed basis, we can load those into memory. Once we are done with that asset, the asset manager, and they're assuming there's no handles to it, the asset manager can free it up and unload it from memory. So in the case of the Call of Duty Zombies series, I actually use this for the the debris doors. So for example, in Notchster and Toten, we have that main buy door. That exists in a memory by default because that door is going to be there from the start. Once a player buys the door, that door is going to go ahead, do its animation, and then it's going to destroy itself. And at some point on the next pass, it's going to actually free itself from memory. So it's no longer going to be taking up your RAM. And that's just handled pretty much for you. So that's just what I wanted to point out. It is a very powerful tool, and it is something I recommend you get on and learn. But it's not something that's necessarily the most beginner friendly. So that's why I just walk through the kind of copy and paste part and just give a very brief overview as to how to do it yourself. But we're not going to focus on that with what we're going to be doing in the future videos. We're not going to have to worry about any of that. So I'm going to try to be very beginner focused for this series. But yeah, so that handled that problem. Hopefully that made sense. You kind of got an idea as to some of the reasons as to why things were working the way they were and how they were solved and why they were solved. That's the big thing, is understanding the why. All right. Yeah, that is pretty much it. In the next video, I guess we're going to start working on that collision bug. I think that'll be a good one to tackle. So I will see you then.